you a little bit about the foster care ministry that we're starting here at Nativity. It actually comes down from Archbishop Naumann, and he is very strong in the Respect Life movement. And of course this fits perfectly because of course we respect life from conception on, but we can't forget about the children in between. And so he has started an initiative and passed it on to each of the parishes to do what they can to raise awareness and help gain support for foster children and teens and foster families. Our small committee I want to introduce to you, our foster care committee, the main goals are to inform our parishioners about the crisis right here in our own area. And we want to inspire people and give the right resources. If someone is moved by the Holy Spirit to foster or provide respite or mentor teenagers, we want to help provide connections. And so that's why we've got these wonderful speakers here tonight to help give us some more information about that. And then beyond that, we want to support foster families. And there's a model through the Fostering Joy organization where we've received training already to build care communities around foster families. Picture a DNA group or one of the Christ Renews' parish groups that have been together for a long time. Imagine them kind of adopting a foster family and being role models and mentors and helpers, bringing meals, helping with yard work or building a bed or whatever the case may be that the family may need. Imagine them having those neighbors or the family, extended family that they may not have in town. And beyond that, and we also want to try to help provide material needs. And you may have seen the giant outpouring of generosity that Nativity brought home this weekend with a lot of the hygiene items. We were able to fill 4 SUVs full of hygiene items for KVC. And Brandy Bartlett, who's here with us today, she said that was the largest hygiene item drive that she'd had, and so glad to be able to put those items to use. So before we really get started with our wonderful speakers, I would like to have Deacon Jim come up and lead us in prayer. You all have a copy of the foster care prayer.
Thank you, Susan. Maybe just a second before we all recite this together, but I think we should all be thinking as we go through this prayer, really for special blessings, graces for this new ministry that's starting here at Nativity. It's very exciting, and as Susie said, it was really wonderful to see the outpouring, and I think that's just going to continue to grow. And so as this ministry just starts here, we also would just ask special graces for this group as they start to take off. But let's all read this together. God, our Father, through the loving sacrifice of your Son, Jesus Christ, you have given a home to us and all the forsaken. Give us the eyes of Christ to see the vulnerable children and families in our midst. Give us hearts that break for what breaks the heart of Jesus. Encouraged by the example of St. Joseph's, fathers of the Lord, inflame us with the compassion of your Holy Spirit to make our homes and parishes places of love, support, and protection for kids in crisis and their families. Amen. And congratulations on the start here, and carry on. Thank you.
I'd like to take just a moment to introduce our committee members. Like I said, I'm Susie Boster. My husband, Jay, is here. He's in charge of chairs. I'm sure he could handle more, but I'm just saying. We have 3 children. They are all age 20, one of whom, our oldest, came to us via the blessing of adoption. Olivia is right here. She is our top tech producer and she plays a key role in our foster care ministry. She's the administrative assistant and also my boss. So I'm glad to have her here tonight. Jay and I became licensed foster parents about 2 years ago. Many of you may have seen the video that was shown in masses a couple of weeks ago. We are licensed from newborns to 12-year-olds, and we do respite care, so that means we do short-term care. It may be for half a day, it may be for a whole day, it may be for 3 days, or up to a week. We have really enjoyed getting to know these kids, and in many cases, we have several families that we see on a regular basis that we help out, like we're aunts and uncles. Danielle Poole, wave Danielle, she's over here. She is a clinical social worker. She has 20 years of experience in therapy, giving therapy to children that are in foster care and those who have been adopted out of foster care. She's a long-term parishioner also and a mother of 3. She's also fostered a teen in her home. Liz Hagan, where are you, Liz? There she is. She's a long-term parishioner as well and our youth director here at Nativity. She also does a lot of special projects. She has her hand in a lot of different things, making a big impact here. And she's the mother of 3 and grandmother of 4. We're so glad to have her on board. She has a huge heart for children. In fact, she helped bring an important speaker here a couple of years ago, Daryl Rodrock, who was through the foster care system and has a beautiful success story and his meeting of Jesus along the way. It was really special to have him here. Lisa Hagedorn is right here, and she and her husband have 4 children. They're long-term parishioners too. I think she said 16 years. 2 of her children, 2 beautiful girls, were adopted out of an orphanage when they were 5 and 7 years old, and so she's really excited to be a part of this committee. And Kathy Anderson is back in the back here. She heads our Ignite Council, which really fits in nicely with this, just bringing our community together to do various things. She works at T-Mobile, has 2 teenagers / young adults, and helped a foster teen recently get a car, which I thought was so beautiful. So thank you so much to my committee members who have brought their expertise forward together to work on building this and informing other parishioners. Brandy Bartlett is here. She's going to speak from KBC.
Sorry, stuck in a urine. Always a mask. Hi guys, thank you all for being here tonight. I really, really appreciate everyone coming out. I appreciate all you've done for us, and that huge donation was just amazing. So I'm so excited about that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So my name is Brandy Bartlett. I'm the Community Resource Specialist at KBC. What my job entails is I support the foster children's needs and the foster family needs. So anything they need, they come to me. I also put on the Christmas parties, the Easter egg hunts, the trunk or treats, all the events that are fun to get the kids out and into the community doing things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about who we are. So we're a private nonprofit that's contracted through the state. We have we provide for 30,000 children and families throughout the year. We do different services. We do our case management services for the kids. We do the reunification program for the children to try to reunite them back home. We do the recruitment, which is part of my team, and then the support. We have an aftercare program. We also have therapy. We do different therapies for them. We have adoption, so if you have interest in adoption, we can also work with that as well. And then some people don't know what aftercare is. So aftercare is the program that once the child is reunified back home, at that point we watch them for a year with their family and just make sure that the home stays stable for the children and that they're not going to have to come back into care. So we have that service as well. I'm going to play a brief video and let you guys see. It's a couple of our foster families with some of the kiddos, and we just want you to kind of hear from them what they think about KBC.
At KBC, our work is not just about providing behavioral health care and child welfare services. At the heart of what we do, it's about so much more. It's making sure every person is safe and connected to a strong family and healthy community. It's giving every child the chance to dream and be happy. It's empowering parents so they can learn healthy skills to thrive. It's preventing suicide by helping people embrace their worth. It's building resilience so people know how to find peace during life storms. It's ending childhood adversity so violence and substance use don't get passed to the next generation. It's caring for children who experienced extreme abuse and neglect and helping them heal from trauma. It's matching children with adopted families so they can feel the love and belonging they deserve. The heart of KBC is helping people.
I guess I lied. I thought I changed my video recently. It used to be foster parents telling what they thought of KBC, but now it's just a video. So in a year's time, we get reports of about approximately 35,000 reports of possible neglect and abuse. In Johnson County alone, we have kids come in upwards of 600. With COVID, things have really changed. You see the number of 6,780. At the end of 2019, that number was at 7,500. So you'll see that there's a big decrease. Sadly, that's happening because a lot of our kids haven't been in schools. So not being in schools, the mandated reporters, the teachers, none of them have seen the kids and been able to build that relationship and get that trust from them to be able to know that stuff's happening at home. So we are really worried about what this next school year looks like. Normally in a typical year, kids go back to school in August, and in October, we start seeing those kids start coming in, because that's that time frame it takes to build the trust with the kids. So we're fearing what the next school year looks like. So our needs for foster beds will go up, foster parents available. But the number, even with Johnson County, it was over 700. So kids have been going back home, which is great to see the numbers go down, but they usually stay steady or keep increasing, and they just haven't been. So that's been really kind of a scary thing for us of what this next year is going to look like once they go back to school. So I want to go on to you guys and talk about the things we need at KBC. There's more powerful ways that you can help. The first, of course, is being a foster parent. And I want you to know, I skipped a couple of slides. My time limit's a little short, so if you feel like there's lots of questions afterwards, please come up and ask me. I can tell you how the whole process goes, where they come into care and everything, and like the whole process to going back home and everything, if you'd like to talk about that later. But let's talk about being a foster parent. So if you have interest in this, we have different options. You can be a foster parent, or like Susie had mentioned, you can be a respite family. Right now, a big need is for foster parents, and it's actually in our teens. We have the older kids are just harder to get placed, so there's always a great need for that. And to be honest, our foster parents are scared of the teens. They hear the stories and they're like, I don't want the teens. But I'll be honest with you, a 7-year-old can be like 5 times worse than a teen. I mean, if they have some kind of trauma or something, they can be like crazy. So everybody gets scared of the thought of teens, but I've been around some of our teens and they're mellow and just like, just want to do their own thing. They're not going to tear down your house. I mean, they are good kids. So we just need a bigger need for our foster families that want to support teens. But if you guys wanted to be a foster parent, you would take a 30-hour virtual course. Right now, everything's virtual still, and it's been going so well, it may stay that way for a while. But you take the course, you have to be at least 21 years of age, and you have to meet basic guidelines. There's some home guidelines that you have to make sure your home is able to be licensed. Pools and things like that have to have special things to be able to be considered safe. You have to have transportation, bedroom space. Each child has to have at least 45 square feet of space. So if they're room sharing, they need to make sure they have that space for themselves. Also, we just do background checks to make sure that everything checks out okay. But that's usually quick and easy. We also work really hard to try to place our children into the same communities they live in. Just because we're already taking them out of their homes with their parents, so we want to create as much normalcy in their life as we can, so they can still see their friends and go to school with their same friends. So we try really hard to place them in that same area and territory that they're from. And if you guys just have any sense to help at all, please talk to me afterwards about the things that you can do. I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. Some of the things we offer, you are each assigned what we call an FSC. They were there 24/7 to help you guys. If you ever have a problem or need anything, they're available to talk to you. You can call them up and say, there's something going on here. This behavior is one I haven't seen before. What do I do? And they're there to help you. All the kids get health insurance through the state. We help you. Part of my job is providing resources and telling you what is needed, or what things you need, like therapies and things like that. I can tell you where to go get those therapies. I provide lots of different things like the warehouse, donations for clothing, hygiene products, toys, books, all the things. So I provide that. I provide the events. We just did this last weekend. We did our Resource Family Conference, and that was a big hit. Normally it's a really big deal. We put it at a big hotel, and everybody comes out. We have speakers and lots of training for you to help you just be prepared for what you're doing. And then you do get a monthly reimbursement. I'm telling you now, you're not going to get rich off of it. It's not something that you're going to come out profiting from. But it is there to help the kids, help for their basic needs, the things they need, school things they want to get involved in, and different things. Okay, so now I have another video. Sorry.
There's all kinds of ways people can help. And boy, people matter. All the people matter. Because kids can use everybody.
Anybody can become a foster parent. I have foster parents that are teachers. I have foster parents that are stay-at-home moms. I have foster parents that are lawyers.
It could be someone such as yourself. If you're ready to make that step, the first step is contacting KBC, getting more information and then moving forward.
Be willing. Willing is the biggest thing. You have to be willing to open your home to whoever walks into your door.
You need to be a very strong individual to be a foster parent. You need to be someone that is emotionally stable enough to deal with having a child brought into your home and that child may ultimately go home. Part of our mission is to enrich and enhance lives, and that's what we want to do. That's why we want to make sure that our foster parents are qualified and that we take the specific trainings. KBC does support our foster parents every step of the way. You have a staff member that is called a foster care specialist that is assigned to your home because we want to be a better life. We're not sure of the exact nature sometimes of what these kids have been through, but we want to try to enrich that and make a bigger impact in their life. You will get to know them, they'll get to know you, they'll know the layout of your home, they'll get to know what you're looking for in a child, they'll get to know your strengths and also your weaknesses and be able to build from that.
Children need safe, stable, predictable environments. Parent management training helps us create that safe, predictable environment. I think we took a 12-week training, and then every year we have to take additional training just to make sure that we are helping the children with their behaviors.
We're striving to put the best foster parents out there, make sure that they're aware, but also informed and educated. The education piece becomes very key.
You have to know and understand what trauma and what triggers are to be able to be a successful foster parent.
Ask questions. We have lots of knowledgeable staff that will be able to walk you through the process.
My job is really simply to assist, to help and tell them, hey, these are the expectations that are going to be met. The court's going to want to see this, the state's going to need to see this be completed. And that's what this new curriculum will help us do. It gives foster parents another tool for the tool bag so that when they're in those difficult moments with children, they know how to handle it. I feel it's extremely important that I have a relationship with every child that I work with. But it is more than that. It's more than the training. It's more than the meetings. It's a 24-hour job if you have foster children in your home.
It's our responsibility to make sure people are aware of what kids need.
We will not pull you onto the ship and abandon you. Absolutely not.
We are accessible 24 hours a day.
We're going to be there every step of the way, so we're all in.
The truth is that it's a really slow process. And it's not about this one moment when you can do something magical to change a child's life. It's about being there every moment of every day.
It's not only a job, but it's what I want to do. It's who I am. I want to help. I want to assist and make sure that these families have a support that they might not have anywhere else.
We need people to do a lot of things. So if you can't foster, then you might be able to provide some finances. If you can't provide finances, you might be able to provide some time.
And if you don't have the funds to donate, volunteer, be a mentor, interact with children in a loving, caring way at every opportunity that you have, and you yourself will be making the world a better place.
And once you walked that
walk with a child, you look back and you're like, gosh, why didn't I do this earlier? This is amazing. It's the best way to change a child's life and start to attack the problem.
All right. So that was all of our social workers on there, just talking about the things that they can do, or like that you guys can do, just to help. They talked about volunteering. Sorry. We talked about volunteer, ways you can volunteer. They also talked about different donations you can do, but we're going to talk about some individual slides on those. The volunteering, right now, it's kind of been limited. I've had workers coming out and helping sort clothing that's coming in each month. The first Saturday of each month, I have donations coming in, and they come in and sort all this clothing coming in and put that away for us so they're ready for the foster families who come in and shop on the fourth Saturday of each month. So they help with that. And then also we do events and we do different celebrations. We love to do respite nights. We love to give those foster parents a break. So if you guys want to come out and crawl around on the floor with little kids, we'd love to have you come out and help do that. We also have just ways to support. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Westside Family Church. They are a big supporter of us. And they sometimes will give out gift cards just to our social workers to say, we love what you're doing, thank you for all you do. So those are types of things you guys could consider doing here at the church as well. We'll go on to talk about the items to donate. So she said, you can give money. Of course, we're never going to turn down money. We'll take the money in time. But that's not always as rewarding as it is to do other things. So if you guys wanted to do the donation or the hygiene drives like you guys did, that was amazing. I love that. Let's do it again next year. That was wonderful. You can do things for teens. Like the teens sometimes don't like the things I get in the warehouse. So to contribute, some gift cards to them to go buy some clothes. Because some of these kids have never had new clothes or name brand clothes. So to be able to have a gift card to go shop and buy the things they want, that's an amazing thing for them, and that just feels like the best day of their life to them. So that's something to do. Every year, starting in June, late June, we start on the back to school drive, and we prepare the backpacks with all the items they need to get started for school. So we're always looking for that. I think Susie talked about you guys maybe doing backpacks this year, maybe. Or maybe you haven't told him yet. But maybe backpacks this year is something you guys would want to do. And then in December, we have a big Holiday Heroes drive, Holiday Heroes program, where you can sign up online and get a Christmas bag. And you go out and you have their wish list. And we give 7 items. Of course, they all want big items, so you don't have to buy just a couple of items off the list. But you can go out and shop and get the kids whatever they want for Christmas. And that's fun, just because you feel like Santa Claus when you're coming in carrying those big old bags. So it's a fun time. And then also things we do, sometimes Halloween, we do a trunk or treat for them, just because it's a safe place to go, and we play music and have fun. So you guys can come out and volunteer with that, or if you want to donate bags of candy for that, that's something to do as well. And then the last thing that you can do is if you guys want to if you want to just advocate for us. If you're at an event and you hear people talking about, we need something to do, we need some kind of project to do, do a drive for us. We would love for you to have do some kind of drive, such as the toy drives, or we also have toy drive tables for Christmas. So toy drives, right now we're having a lot of kids come in who have autism. So sensory items, those have been really, I've been getting a lot of requests for sensory items. Those are things our kids need. There's always something. I'm standing up here in front of you, so of course my wheels aren't spinning like they should be. But I can come up with a million things for you guys to help with if you ever want to do some kind of drive or something to support the kids. Lastly, I just ask if you'll go out and follow the KBC Kansas Facebook page. We share a lot of information on that page. And if you could just share those posts. If you see a post, you're like, oh, I'm going to share this on my Facebook page, or other social media as well. We appreciate that. If you are in the PTA at school, that's something you can do a drive through them. So just any way that you guys can think of to support foster families. If you know families that can't have children, suggest fostering. That's something for them to do as well. So I know I threw out a lot of stuff to you guys, and I'll have a table over there, and you guys can come over and talk afterwards with lots of questions. The last slide is my contact information. So come grab a business card and let's talk more. I can tell you all kinds of things and answer all your questions.
Wendy, will you tell them about when the training is starting? For
Yes.
Being a foster parent?
Yes. So Kim Edwards is my recruiter, and if you guys are interested in taking the foster training, it is 30 hours. It's 10 weeks, 3 hours online. If you want to take those classes, the next one starts on May 26th, and you'll go for 9 weeks with that one. It's a new program, so it's 9 weeks long. And you guys can call, we can get you set up and scheduled for the training class if that's something you guys want to do. And then did you want me to talk about respite more, or were you good?
You want to explain that a little bit?
So the respite, you do actually have to get licensed as a foster parent just because they want you to be able to understand the behaviors the kids are having. Because sometimes as just a normal parent, you think of like disciplining a child, you schooled them, but that may have been something that was a major trauma to them from their parents. So they're not going to react the same as your child would from being schooled. That may like show them, oh, my parents love me, they're screaming at me. So then you're just spending your day screaming, and they're thinking you're giving them love by screaming at them. So taking the being a respite family, we want you to also have those understanding of the behaviors, and if you were to have to discipline, understand the proper way to discipline the child also, because we found positive reinforcement is the best way to get a child to actually do what you want. Like if you're offering them something like, we're going to give you this, if you stop doing this, they're going to react to that a lot better than they would just hollering at them. So it's really encouraging in the training. You learn a lot, and you feel like you know everything really once you're done, because there's so much information packed in those classes. So please think about that and taking the classes, and like I said, holler at me and I can answer any other questions you guys have.
And now I want to introduce Dr. Elise DiCarlo, who's a parishioner and also an adoptive mom who adopted her beautiful daughter through foster care. She has a great story to share with us.
Do I need a mask? Don't want to. Oh. Hi.
We'll stay 6 feet away from you.
Okay. Stay away.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Elise. Susie, thanks for
Talk right
asking.
in, real close.
Talk really close. Hello. I will say that I was coming out the door tonight. Sorry, I gave you a heart attack being like 5 minutes early only. I asked my son, can you go get my stuff off the printer? So, because to take, I just grabbed it and got in the car. Here's what I have. The high frequency sight words. I got a cookie, blank the store. So this is, my friend always says, hey, free help, that's what you get. But luckily my other stuff was underneath it. I was like, wow, I did not need that for you guys. This brought back so many things that we did as a family. We did those respite nights. That's a great way, we did them at Church of Resurrection. They have Friday nights 5 to 10, and we just go. We bring all our boys because we'd all just play with the kids and give them pizza and laugh. And it just was really fun, and it was from a foster parent side. It's a really cool night because foster parents would go learn stuff, and we just were oh, we're just energized now to parent for 5 minutes. We're tired again, but it was just. It's really good. We did, you can do so many things. We did an underwear and sock drive, because when you think about these kids, they go into their house and they're like, we're taking you now. So get your things. Who thinks about their prized possession being underwear and socks? So a lot of times they arrive to their place where they don't have their basic things they need like that, and it's kind of humiliating. So we did underwear and sock drives. We did holiday heroes. I started making blankets for babies because I realized, and I am not some kind of seamstress, so this was just way out of the lane for me, but I realized all these babies are leaving the hospital. When they leave the hospital into foster care, if that's their path, they have nothing, not a onesie. And I was I want these babies to have a beautiful handmade blanket when they leave the hospital. So that was just something I wanted to do. I really wanted to foster. My husband did not. He said, we're good. we're busy, we're full. So I don't know, somehow I just would, let's just take the class and see. I thought certainly we'll take the class, and his heart will open to this beautiful experience. And, oh, the babies. And so we took the class, and then the first of all, you guys are so lucky to take it online. Please, everybody better do it, because I'm like so jealous. That is so easy. We were going and trekking and getting our kids all to childcare and going to these classes and filling out these papers, and you fill out your paperwork for the next class. And now it's like, go online. I'm like, that's super awesome. So I hope everybody does training, first of all. Just so you can do the training, you can totally decide to end the training. I'm in, I'm out, I just want to do respite, I mean, they're asking the whole way. So we had people we went through training with, and they were like, this is not for me. There's almost like some single people I can think of that like, I just, whoa, can't, that's just bigger than I thought. But I'm sure, I know single people who have fostered and adopted. So, but anyway, I just remember that's what happens. It's not like you have to like sign your life over just to go to class. You can just be like, hey, I'm just here at the class, I want to learn. Which is how I approached it, because that's how I approached it. Let's just go and see. But at the end, the woman came to our house and to have our discussion, our like conclusion of what we decided, and my husband's like, we're out. We're not doing it. And I was like devastated, because I was like, this is awesome. This is incredible. I've always had a heart for children, and I'm like, this is amazing. And so I was walking out to her car with her, and I was like starting to cry, and she said, you know, no act of kindness toward a child is ever wasted. And that really always stuck with me. She was like, just find your kids, you know. And I digress to say, a friend of mine went to see, Mother Teresa, he brought, through his crazy winter circumstances, he brought her to America and got to talk with her. And she said, people always come and they want to stay. And they say, Mother, can't we stay? And can you just help you? And she would tell them, no, go home, you've got to find your own Calcutta. And I love that, because this is like, these are kids in our neighborhoods. There are kids, I guarantee, on everybody's block that need to be fostered. They're there. They're the ones that are just wandering. They're there. It just takes like really, for me, like prayer, like God guide me and open my eyes to like what kids need me. Whether I'm a foster parent or not, or I'm just, like, just show me the people, show me what you have me do. And so anyway, somehow we ended up saying, yes, we were gonna foster. So I don't know how that happened. And then they would call us for like, we have these 4 kids that need care, to come into care. Can they come over in 20 minutes? And I would be like, just a second. Hey, Jeff, 4 kids, come, stay with us. And you'd be like, for how long? Like, it's an indeterminate amount of time. No, thanks. So, okay, so that was hard. So we had at that point I had a great worker that, her name was Jessica Fangman. Where's our person? Jessica Fangman. And do you know Jessica?
What was that?
Jessica Fangman.
I don't think she's here.
Yeah, she's not there anymore. Okay,
I
but she was just awesome, and she just texted me like, this is your baby girl. And I was like, what? And so I call her, and she's like, there's a baby who the mother was addicted to heroin, so then the baby is now, addicted, born addicted. So she needs methadone, and so no one wanted her basically, because that's like such a high need child. And so I was like, okay, and then like it was such a crazy coincidence. The baby was in a NICU where like one of my best friends was in the NICU. She's like, what? She's like, that baby's in our NICU. Yeah, I can't wait for you to meet her. Like it was just like everything came together. And so, but they still were like, you don't have to say you're gonna take her, like, and they were putting me through this routine, like I had maybe like a kindergarten education when I was in the NICU with her. They're like, you have to hold her. I'm like, yeah, yes, you hold it. Like give her distilled water with her. And I'm like, okay. But it was just like, they were so concerned about her, and the nurses were so worried about her, and they loved her. And so they made me stay in the hospital with her, like live in the hospital with her for a little bit, and she would not sleep for more than 20 minutes at a time. That's what I found out when I saved her. I thought, how am I gonna do this? I got 3 kids, and a husband, and a dog, and this baby who only sleeps for 20 minutes. But this is where just prayer has to come in for me. And I had let God down on something previously. I felt I did. And I felt there was an opportunity for me to do something. And I just couldn't put it all in place, and like, how's that gonna work out and all that. I couldn't figure it all out, so like, I just didn't do it. So I said, next time, God, I'm doing it. So I had to just like, I was driving home, I put my car, just remember I parked my car and was like, this is the thing, isn't it, God? Like, we're here now. This is like the thing, the big thing. Because I thought anybody could say, no, you have 3 kids and all this stuff, and you do not need to be taking this heroin addicted baby into your house who doesn't sleep and cries all the time and shakes. But I was just like, but I said I would, you know. So anyway, so we took her, and her family said, no one wants her, we don't want her. She you know, she's too much, and we can't handle her. So we took her, and we go back to farther back. That's not her.
Then it's gonna be forward.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so back. Did we have one of her? I'm not sure. Yeah, no, we have one back. Sorry. That was so this is little Harlow. We brought her home. She did shake and cry all the time at first, and when she was weaning off of these drugs, and I had to take her to a certain NICU every week to get her weighed and measured, and they watched her, and then they go over here to give her methadone. I mean, it was just like, and then the methadone's in the refrigerator, and they're telling me, you know, that methadone will do anything for you. Don't take any of that methadone. And I'm like, I'm not taking the methadone. It was just a big, you know. But she got all better. She got all better, and she was incredible, and my kids were amazing. They come from school, and like, if you want dinner, you got to hold her for the 30 minutes, and then if you need to do homework, you need to hold her the next 30 minutes. I mean, we rotate her around. Everybody took care of her. We had a non-beautiful woman came and took care of her like some nights from like 10 to like 5. We didn't get her home, I think, at 5:30 in the morning or something. So I mean, it just fell into place, and she was amazing. And we had a new worker who had never had, like, it was like our first case, and this is a very complicated case. But anyway, so I mean, the whole time. So you go on to the next one. Yeah, go to the no, bow, the big bow. So this on the right. So that's when she was about going to leave us, and the state of Kansas has come out and said she's perfect. We're not even gonna come look at her. She's like so developmentally amazing. She's awesome. And then the grandparents called and said, well, we'll take her now. Like, she's amazing. She's great. And so that's hard, and that can really happen. You know, so at all times it's like I had to rely on God. I couldn't really, because they all said they didn't want her. That's hard. I know we're all for, you know, reunification and stuff, but that was like not what I had in my heart or mind. So I couldn't give her back, but I said, God, you just will have to do this for me, because I can't just go back into this household. And I remembered then that when we had volunteered, this woman told me she was taking care of twins, and I said, well, what do you know, what's going to happen to these beautiful children? She said, oh, we'll just take care of them for like another 6 months, and they'll go back to their totally unacceptable situation. And I was like, you can, what? Like, they're just gonna, she's like, that, yeah, we just love it. We don't know, we're not gonna be feeling it's acceptable. I mean, we're just doing God's work, you know? So I don't have to get what I want in the end, I guess, or get what I think is best. Because I thought I knew best for Harlow, and that like the best would be for her to stay with us. But that was not the plan, and God showed up, and she left, and I called my worker, and I was like, you better fix all things. And what happened was, and then they called me about some other like really medically fragile children, who I would have had to like, there's children that if you want to hold babies in the hospital, there's babies that need to be held that need foster parents, but they're in Children's Mercy downtown. and they need somebody to come down and be there 8 hours a day. So there's all things, you know, but I just knew, well, I can't actually do that with my family. Like I just had to pray each time I got a call. And, but then one of the nurses who saw me taking care of Harlow, knew about this, baby, Madison. And they called her to adopt Madison. And she has her half-sister. And so she'd already adopted, she's a single mom, she'd already adopted 3 kids, through fostering. One who's so high needs that they said she'd only live a year, but this woman has taken such great care of her, she's like 11 or 12 now, she's still living. They said she probably had a year. They said, did we just take her, Renee? She's only gonna live like a year. She's just like 11. So, because Renee's amazing. So Renee said, I can't take any more, but this is her half-sister. What if you give her to Elise, and we can keep that sisters, like the half-sisters, you know, as, you know, close as we can. So, this is that baby. That's the first time I ever held her or met her. She had a tube in her nose. She was premature. She ate cocaine for her life in utero. Yeah, she couldn't take a bottle. They told me she can't take a bottle or anything. And so I got there. I said, can I just come at her feeding time? And they're like, no, she won't. Don't be upset. She's not going to take a bottle. I said, that's fine. I just kind of want to come during her feeding time and try. So I got there. I gave her a bottle. She drank the whole thing down. She never had a feeding again. That was like on Friday, and on Monday they're like, when are you coming to pick up Madison? I'm like, oh, now, great. But anyway, I guess I just want to say, you know, it's God, it's all God. Like, it's all about, for me, like surrender. You know, I don't know, and I didn't know the whole time. I didn't know where Harlow was going. I didn't know where Madison was going. I just had to pray the whole way, and I did everything that was asked, and you know, just drove all over, meet up with grandparents. And first, both of her parents, her mother abandoned her in the hospital. They couldn't find her father for like months, and then they found her father. And it was a mess. It's kind of a mess, right? Sometimes it's really, really messy. But he also surrendered his rights. And then they had another family, found another family member that was maybe to take her. It was just, I ended up just telling that family member, you know, she was well in her 80s, I think. And I just told her what I could offer this baby. And I just said, you know, we love her, unconditionally, we'll take care of her, we'll get her everything she needs, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And we just love her. And we turned in our packet to adopt her like months before that, and she ended up not turning her packet to adopt her. So it's like there's deadlines, right, for the adoption packets to be in. She said she turned it in, but it was lost. So they gave her another chance to turn it in, and she turned it. So anyway, we ended up adopting her. So let's go forward. Here she is, baby. That's Harlow. This is Madison, and I love this. We didn't give you the gift of life. Life gave us the gift of you, because adopted kids have a lot of questions. Foster kids have a lot of questions. Adopted kids recently saw her baby, and she's like, well, you carried me in your belly. And I'm like, no, I didn't. You know, I'm like, that was a different situation. And that God brings children into families in just the whatever way he chooses. Okay, sorry. So this was like her first summer. We were with her, and she's growing up. Let's go to the picture where people are working to adopt her. And so there's our adoption gotcha day, which is May 24th. She had just turned 2. And do we have any older ones or not? Yeah. I was late at night. I was like, I cannot go through anymore. I couldn't get any more pictures to go. But she is 5 now. She will tell everyone she's going to be 6 this Sunday on Mother's Day. Yay. It's so appropriate. And she's amazing. And the further care is like, you know, I go every week with her to this counselor for like emotional support, to teach her about emotions. To teach her about just everything. And I learned, there's a little headphone in my ear, and she'll say, okay, just ignore that. Ignore that. Like what she's saying on this, because so much of parenting is like knowing what to focus on, knowing to use the I statements. Okay, so just a side note to that is, so I have all these beautiful kids. I have a charity also for suicide prevention. Adopted and foster kids are very high risk for suicide. But one of the protective factors I just wanted to mention is a caring adult. So that's any of you. I mean, you can keep a child from suicide just by being the one solid, like, caring adult that they have. And I have been that for a couple people, and I saw both of them today. One is about to graduate from UMKC, cum laude. She's a job with KPMG. I mean, she's amazing. And all I did was like walk through problems with her. And she brought me, I saw her that she bring me a Mother's Day gift, because she's like, you're my second mom. So, I mean, it's just, I can't tell you how much I've gotten that back, and I can't tell you how much it's about skin in the game, time. I listened to meditation today. It was like, no one really, your time is your biggest gift. And if you can offer that unselfishly to a child, I think you just get back 1,000. So I know I've never talked for 5 minutes. I'm gonna go pick up from lacrosse. My husband's out of town.
Thank you. And thanks so much, Elise. And now we have Tim Gay, the founder of Youth Thrive.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Let me see if I can do this. I don't like to stand behind a podium. So I'm going to, it's going to be hard to top some of those stories, but I'm going to focus tonight on a particular group of young people that are in foster care, and that's the older foster youth. You've heard a little bit about them tonight, but that's what Youth Thrive is focused on, is supporting young people that age out of foster care. Just briefly, my personal journey. My wife and I had the privilege of going to Haiti on 3 different short-term mission trips. Kind of had my heart broken for the orphan, came back, my wife and I were trying to figure out a way to get involved in our local community, and that's how we were introduced to foster care. We have a blended family of, that's not my family.
You didn't send any photos.
Yeah, so the trick's on me because I didn't send any photos. But we have a blended family. We have 8 kids from 14 to 28. But when we heard about the needs within foster care, we decided we were going to adopt. And we had already parented a few teens, and so we thought that that was really where we felt God was calling us, was to adopt a teenager. So we adopted a teen girl. Her name's Michaela. She was 16 when she joined our family. She's now 23 and is actually working in child welfare herself. But it was through that journey that I learned about this specific population of young people aging out, because when we were going through the training that was described to get licensed and to go down the path of adopting Michaela, we would say, we're here to adopt a teenager, and everybody would look at us like we were from Mars, right? And so the natural follow-up question is, why? We learned how rare it was, and the natural question was, if it's really rare, and there's all these teens in foster care, and there's no foster homes and no adoptive homes for the teenagers, what happens to them? And that's the first time I heard of this, which was, they stay in the foster care system until they turn 18, and then they are released from custody. That's called aging out. So they stay in the foster care system until they're a legal adult, and then they're released to navigate life on their own. Okay, I'd never heard of that until that moment, right? Now, let me give you a few statistics. Young people that age out of foster care, 1 in 4 will be in the justice system within 2 years of aging out. 1 in 5 will be homeless within 2 years. Only 58% will get a high school diploma by the age of 19 with an extra year added on. Half will be unemployed by the age of 21. Only 3% will get a college degree. 7 out of 10 young women that age out of foster care will have a child or be pregnant before the age of 21. California did a study on women that were rescued out of sex trafficking, and over half of them were former foster youth. The prison population, on and on and on. The statistics are sobering, and I hope you feel the weight of them, because those are the statistics that I felt the weight of when I learned about these young people. Michaela, we were adopting, but I started to learn there are 400 youth that age out of foster care every year in the state of Kansas, and about 70 to 75 are right here in the Kansas City area that age out of foster care. So I was a business person. I spent 17 years at Sprint, and I was in the business world for 30 some odd years. But ultimately, this journey after adoption and fostering teens led me down the path of leaving the business world to see how I could help the community better address the needs of young people aging out of foster care. And You Thrive is the organization that was founded about 5 years ago. We're a young organization. And our sole purpose is to provide support for young people that are aging out of foster care. We do that a couple of ways. The primary way is through relational support. You heard that a couple times tonight, right? One caring adult can make a difference, right? So it's a mentoring-like relationship where you recruit individuals from the community, and that is sometimes a person that wants to do it by themselves, and sometimes it's a married couple, and sometimes it's an entire family that volunteers to come alongside a young person and encourage them and support them and coach them and mentor them and be a support for them as they're transitioning out of foster care. That's the primary thing, the most foundational thing that we do. The second thing we do is we teach financial classes. We teach financial literacy classes, help them learn how to budget their money, save their money, pay their bills, all that kind of stuff. And we also have a max savings program where they can learn to save money toward the purchase of something that will help them with their transition. And we match it, just like a 401k. They save $1,000, we put in $1,000. And they can use it for housing, they can use it for a used car, they can use it for education, employment, anything that's going to help them with their transition. So those are the two primary ways. And of course, the volunteers that we call support families, they come alongside and help them learn those budgeting skills and those financial skills also. And we have social workers, case managers on staff that are there to help support the young people in our program. Right now we have about 65 or so youth in our program. That is, most of that's in Johnson and Wyandotte County, and then we also have some in Douglas County in the Lawrence area. So there are 400 a year that age out, so there's many that are not receiving support. Let me conclude with this before I turn it over. That was really quick. I will be back there for questions also. I want to conclude with this. There's no right or wrong answer on how to get involved in this space. And my encouragement to you guys is it can be overwhelming, because it's like, should I respite? Should I foster? Should I adopt? Should I mentor? There's lots of choices. That's the nice thing, is that there's lots of choices. And it's my encouragement to you is just take the next step, or take the first step. Everyone's journey is different. When we took our first step, I had no clue I would be starting and leading a nonprofit organization working with youth aging out of foster care. I'd never even heard of aging out at that point in time, right? You just take the first step. Maybe the first step is training. Maybe the first step is respite. Maybe the first step is what you're going to hear about next, which is wrapping around a family encouragement. There's a next step for everyone. And everyone's journey is different. If the first step you take isn't the right one, God will redirect you. You'll wind up where He wants you to be. But as they say, it's a lot easier to take that first step and start the journey. You'll figure it out as you go. So if mentoring a teenager is something, supporting a teenager is something of interest to you, then come talk to me for a few minutes and I'll give you some information about next steps. We have a couple of trainings for our volunteers coming up in June, May 22nd. And we have one-day trainings. It's like 5 hours long, 5 or 6 hours long. And we can get you signed up. Thank you for the chance to come talk to you tonight. And I hope that you guys will consider taking that next step, whatever it is. Just ask. Yes, we still foster. We've specialized in teens, so we started with adoption, which is not the normal thing, and then we got licensed. We foster teens. We currently have a 17-year-old foster son that lives with us. We've been fostering teenagers for about 8 years. 8 years now. So.
Thank you so much. Now I just want to show you a brief video clip about the care community so you can really visualize what that looks like.
And Roseanne, when they decided to build in our neighborhood, we met them, and the idea about a life group for Westside came up, and my wife and I, we decided that, yeah, we know some neighbors that we could start a life group. So we started a life group.
So we joined it, and it's all of our neighbors, and we've gotten to know a lot of our neighbors just by being here.
We have people that are in our neighborhood, and people are not in our neighborhood. It's become a great group of friends and friendship. Out of all that came the idea that we probably should go a little bit further with our group, and we started to investigate supporting a foster family.
I was looking for a reading tutor for my foster daughter, and I was directed towards the Westside Church, and they got me in touch with the care community.
So Harmony is a foster mother. She's a single parent. She has an adult son and 4 foster children who are under the age of 7.
Oh my gosh, to have the care group come alongside me, I feel like they've just invested in me so much so that I can invest in the kids. For so many years, it was taking everything out of me to take care of the kids. Not that I regretted any of it, but it was definitely like I was at the end of my rope and trying to do everything. And just anything that they give back to me, I feel like I can just take that and put that into the kids and whatever they need.
Our life group is one of the first life groups at Westside that is trying a program called the Care Community. And so we were given a foster family to kind of come alongside and just kind of be bonus aunts and uncles to the mom and the children.
And it's been such a joy to do that. It's been awesome getting to know Harmony and her children. And it's really been a super two-way street though, because she's opened her house, her home, and her children up to us.
You know, besides just like the physical things of bringing food or helping me with the laundry or helping me, you know, watch the kids or distract the kids while I'm trying to organize things, I think the more important part has been the relationships that developed between the kids and the members of the care group. I mean, every one of my kids has 1 or 2 members that they're like, are they coming tonight? Are they coming tonight? So they've all connected with different people. And that's what I've been praying for so long for these kids, that there would be adults that would be willing to be invested into them.
The kids love us being there. They love us and we love them.
These children have so much energy, you know, the kind of energy you want to can and keep for yourself, but to also utilize that energy to create.
Well, we were asked to think about what gifts we might have to offer, and I thought about the fact that I'm an artist and I could help the oldest child do artwork.
How wonderful that people can come along the side like we're doing. It's a wonderful, and it's easy, it's simple, it's a joy, it's fun, it's great.
They didn't have a playset in their backyard, and they were going to the park, which is a lot of work for a foster mom to get 4 or 5 children out of the house to a park. So we pitched in and purchased a playset at Costco and went over and spent a couple days and built it in the backyard and cleaned up the trees and made room for it. And they have their little park in their backyard now.
Harmony has an older son, Andrew. So we're putting this swing set together. And Andrew is sort of watching and, hey Andrew, come over here. And it was sort of more of a mentoring with Andrew and working with harmonious group of people all working together. It was a great experience.
Westside's hope and Harmony's hope is that every foster family would have a care community to come alongside them and do what we've done for her in the short 2 months that we've been with her. It's just been as much of a blessing to our life group as it has been to her and her family.
You know, they become a second family to us. You know, aunts and uncles and grandparents for the kids, and friends and role models and mentors for me. And I can't imagine my life without them now.
So that kind of gives you an idea of the framework that we hope to start here. We'll probably, start small with a care community or two, and then build from there. We will ask everyone who wants to get involved with that to sign up on the table over here. There's a sign-up sheet, and everyone does need to be Virtus trained. So if you haven't done that, there is a very simple online Virtus training. It takes 2 hours or less, and then we will set you up with a foster family. But to give you kind of a picture of that, one foster family I know has 4 little children, 5 years old and younger. So how much she would benefit, this single mom who's a teacher, would benefit from having a group of people come around and help her with the kids, with meals, with laundry and such, with a place that would be awesome. I know another family who has 4 biological children under 12, and they have just taken in 4 foster children, 12 to 17. And how much they need for feeding a family of 10 every day, 3 meals a day, how much they could use the meals, how much they could use a tutor, a mentor for the teenagers, someone to help teach driving or mowing the lawn or that kind of thing. So anyway, there's all kinds of beautiful opportunities coming up ahead. And then also the material needs. I know several people expressed interest in kind of some ongoing material needs. In addition to doing the big drives like we have just done, we also hope to begin to provide some more one-on-one assistance to families, so that if we find out through Brandy that a foster family just got a placement of 2 kids and the only way they can fit them in their home is if they get a set of bunk beds, well, could we find someone through the neighborhood app or through our community here that could donate that? Could we find a couple of people to come build that for them? So I think there are a lot of really neat opportunities. And then it's just such a beautiful opportunity. If you show up on somebody's doorstep with the bunk beds, could you say, here's my phone number if you guys need anything else, and how that could start a beautiful friendship. So anyway, I think there's a lot of really neat things going on here. I do want to give you guys a chance to ask questions. If our speakers Brandy, if you might just kind of make yourself available for a minute. If anyone has a question right now that you want to ask me or any one of the speakers, go ahead and be brave. Anyone? I'm sure we did a really thorough job answering all questions. Everything's clear as mud. But if you don't have any questions for the big group, please stop by the table. Don't be afraid to sign your name. It doesn't commit you to anything, but more information. And so that we can reach out to you with the upcoming trainings that you would need and that kind of thing. But thank you all so much for being here. I know we all have one thing in common, and that is a huge heart for children and teens who do not have permanent families. So thank you all for being here. Please continue to pray for all of the foster kids.